Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Matt Butler, Fordham University Director of Military and Veteran Services. Thanks for joining us today. Today we're going to talk about 4-block and the course that we offer for 1 credit for our undergraduate student veterans. 4-block is the premier transition assistance program for post 9/11 veterans. That's my opinion, but I think it's backed up in good facts. And one of the reasons it's so great, particularly for Fordham student veterans, is that we have an arrangement with 4-block to have an esteemed veteran and adjunct professor be the direct teacher for this class, and that's Tom Dickman. So Tom, welcome. Thank you so much for spending some time with us today. And can you tell us more about 4-block and what the program's all about and how it really supports student veteran transition into employment?
Okay, great. Thanks very much, Matt, and welcome everybody. It's great to see such a turnout on a Tuesday afternoon. Let me just briefly introduce myself. Tom Dickman. I am the chief instructor for 4-block in the New York City area, and as Matt said, I'm also an adjunct professor here at Fordham. I'm a Vietnam veteran. I served with the U.S. Navy Seabees in Vietnam back in the early 70s. Doing heavy construction in what was known as the Northern I Corps, which is the northernmost geographic sector of Vietnam, just below the DMZ. And while it was a lousy year, I mean, Vietnam was as bad as any documentary or any movie you ever saw about it. The experience I got over there doing construction was just absolutely invaluable. And I was able to parlay that experience into a very successful civilian career in the engineering and construction arena. Along the way, I was one of the founders of a company called AECOM, which at one time was the largest design engineering firm in the world. Since it hit that ranking, it's added construction to its bag of tricks. So now it's a design and construction firm, and it's still ranked number 3 in the world. So it's a big company. It does about $18 billion a year in revenue. It employs about 85,000 people. It's worked in some of the most iconic jobs in the world, and I'm just so proud of the way AECOM has turned out. When I retired from AECOM in 2016, I was able to do something that I promised myself I would do, and that was try to do something to ensure that our current crop of veterans never got treated the way the Vietnam vets got treated when we got back. And I can spend time talking about this sometime, but it was just unconscionable that the United States of America could ever treat their fighting people the way the Vietnam vets got treated. So just about the time I retired from AECOM, I discovered 4-block. As Matt said, it is absolutely the premier transitional firm in the business. And so I joined 4-block a month after I retired. I'm going on my 5th year there now, and it's probably the most rewarding thing that I've ever done. So let me just bring up a PowerPoint presentation here, and let me tell you a little bit about what 4-block's all about. Okay, can you see that okay?
Yes.
Okay, good. So that's me. 4-block is the official definition or the mission statement for 4-block. When somebody asks me what 4-block is all about, I say that we teach veterans the basic blocking and tackling of what they're going to need to make it in the civilian business world. Veterans have a tremendous amount of experience in things, and they just have to learn how to translate that experience into the civilian business terms. And I think at 4-block, we help do that. How do we do it? Well, first of all, what are the requirements to be a part of the 4-block course? You need an honorable or general discharge. You need to be a post 9/11 veteran. If you're a student, as all you are, good academic standings. You need motivation. This is something you can't do in a half-assed way. This is it's a pretty intensive course. We really teach you a lot of stuff in one semester. And if you're going to do this halfway, don't bother, because you really do need to be serious about taking this course. And then, as I said, there's a time and energy commitment, which I'll talk about in a second. It's not onerous, but there is some time you have to put in to this to get something out of it. How do we do it? 4-block, it's an 11-week seminar, which pretty much parallels the school year. We run it twice a year, once in the fall, once in the spring, in relation to the seminars not the seminars, I mean the semesters of the colleges that we deal with. We have an online curriculum, which is something, it operates in something called 4-block Connect. 4-block Connect is something new this year. It's an app that we developed in relation with PricewaterhouseCoopers. And it's almost like an internal LinkedIn network. You have a place to be able to post things about yourself, photo, background material on yourself, what you want to do in your career. But the entire curriculum is taught on 4-block Connect. The key thing is that all our alumni, which are about 2,300 now over the past 10 years, it's probably more than that, it's probably more like 2,500, they will all be members of 4-block Connect as we go forward. All of our sponsor companies, the people who actually teach the courses to you, they'll be members of 4-block Connect also. So this is going to be a tremendous networking tool, and it's an internal networking tool. As I said, it's almost like an internal LinkedIn, and it's kind of the heart and soul of the course right now. We do weekly face-to-face meetings. We used to do it that way when it was face-to-face. Now it's all been done virtually via Zoom. But you get to meet the top people in a lot of the sponsored companies that we work with, and I'll talk about the sponsored companies in just a little bit. But it's in New York City. We run the classes every Wednesday night from 6 till about 8:30, and as I said, it runs for an 11 weeks duration. There are 7 key deliverables that we ask you to provide by the end of the course, which I'll talk about in just a second. There's a tremendous networking group of former 4-block employees or former 4-block alumni who will do anything in their power to help you succeed in the job that you're going after. Our veterans work for some of the outstanding companies in the United States. They will cut off their arm for you. So by using the network of the tribe, as we call it, of the 4-block alumni, you will have a tremendous inside road to a lot of opportunities that other people outside of our network do not get. There is a time commitment. As I said, the class itself is about 2.5 hours. And then there's probably another 2 to 2.5 hours during the week of prep time. You'll have an assignment to do before each class, and there's prep time to do that. So it's probably 4 to 5 hours a week of your time. So that's the commitment I was talking about that you'll need to take a part of. There are instructors in the New York City area. Eric Stetson and I do the teaching. But each one of you, if you join the course, each one of you will get a career coach, which is somebody in many cases who has gone through the 4-block program. In all cases, they are veterans who have been through what you're going through, and will just give you some insight into things that they did to make their career successful. So not only will you get instruction from people like myself and Eric Stetson, but you'll have a coach that will do one-on-one stuff with you also on a week-to-week basis. We ask that there's a very simple survey, the start of the course, the end of the course, and one very simple survey at the end of each lesson. We ask you to fill that out because it helps us to hone our message. And then we do a podcast every week. This is not mandatory. It's not something you need to do, but we talk about some very interesting stuff which you might want to log on to. Okay, what are these deliverables that we talked about? The first thing that you're going to need to do is what we call your elevator pitch. When somebody says at a networking event, hey, tell me about yourself, you got about 30 seconds to interest that person in what you're all about. They don't want a War and Peace. They don't want the the 4-hour dissertation on yourself. They want the Reader's Digest version. They want 30 to 40 seconds of who am I? What have I been doing? What am I doing now? What do I want to do going forward? And we'll help you craft that elevator pitch and deliver it so that it's really punchy and really gets the attention of the person you're talking to. Once you get into an interview, the interviewer will probably ask you the same thing. Well, tell me about yourself. Well, now you don't want a 40-second elevator pitch. You want to be able to tell your story in 2 to 3 to 4 minutes, just like I did at the start, where I told you about my background in Vietnam and my background in the business world and why I'm doing what I'm doing now. You should be able to tell your story the way I just did mine in 2 to 3 minutes. And we're going to practice that also, and you're going to be a master storyteller by the time you get done. We're going to want you to produce a targeted resume, at least a targeted resume, geared towards some position that you want. Any job you go after should get a crafted resume just for that position, and we're going to teach you how to write a resume that's really stands out. Oops, I hit the button twice there. We're going to ask you to create a LinkedIn profile and learn how to use it. I'm pretty sure many of you probably already have a LinkedIn profile. If you don't, we're going to get you one. If you've got one, we're going to really fine tune it. As a matter of fact, this week we're doing our class, and the LinkedIn people are actually teaching the class. So they're going to give our students some real inside pointers on what you can do to tweak your LinkedIn profile so that people notice it. One of the most important things that we do is we conduct mock interviews with real live interviewers from our sponsor companies. And now we're doing these things remotely. And Matt and I were just talking, myself and Steve were just talking about this before you all came on. But most interviews with major companies now are being done virtually. They're being done either via Zoom or via a phone call. And we're going to teach you how to do an effective interview in a Zoom environment or in a phone call environment, which many people in the business world don't have the experience doing. So you're going to get a real leg up in how business is being conducted right now during the COVID era, which is interviewing effectively via a virtual environment. So that's something, we used to do these nose to nose and teach you how to do an interview effectively face to face, but now we're going to teach you how to do it effectively virtually. We're going to ask you by the end of the course to come up with a list of target companies and a list of people you might want to be networking with to get an opportunity with one of those target companies. And then also one element of every one of our courses is we do networking. We'll pair up, again, we do this virtually right now. We'll pair up 2 or 3 or 4 veterans with a person from one of the companies like Citibank or JP Morgan Chase. And we just talk about stuff, talk about life, talk about what it's like to work for JP Morgan, what it's like to work for Citibank. And being in an environment like that, you learn how to handle yourself when you're talking with a representative from a major company. So we'd like you to become very comfortable in interfacing with representatives of major companies, because that's a lot of the fight in trying to get a spot with one of these major Fortune 500 companies. So those are the 7 deliverables that we're going to ask you to demonstrate by the end of the semester. And I think you'll all find that these will all work. These are all going to benefit you. Things like your story, you're going to be developing that and fine-tuning that for your entire career. I mean, I've been doing my story and changing it, for 45 years. So I think you'll do the same thing, and learning how to write effective resumes. And I can't emphasize enough the importance of the LinkedIn profile. In business today, LinkedIn, everybody's got a LinkedIn profile. From the kid in the mailroom to the CEO, everybody's got a LinkedIn profile. So you've got to have one that really sings if you really want to play in the game. This is why, or this is how 4Block exists. We get some federal grants and we get some grants from some private foundations, but most of our operating expenses are paid through sponsorships from cities like Citibank. I mentioned Microsoft, JP Morgan Chase. We were just there last week. Facebook, Goldman Sachs, PricewaterhouseCoopers has been a long time supporter of ours. And these are the ones that you'll be meeting with every week. You'll be meeting with the top people in the New York City area from many of these companies. And you're going to start developing networks with the C-suite people that most other folks that are not veterans will not have. So you're going to get a tremendous leg up by being able to interface with the sponsors of our organization. These are just some of the shots of how we used to do it when it was nose to nose. This is Philly in DC. And as Matt said when he started his when he kicked off the call today, he gave you his view of what 4Block is all about. So, and this is just one quote. I'm not going to read it. You can read it right there. But we get this from hundreds and hundreds of people on a daily basis. I can't tell you how many emails I've gotten from students that have gone through the course 2 and 3 years ago who said, you know, I never would have made it without you guys at 4Block. And that really makes you feel good when somebody says, I'm having a successful career and I wouldn't have been there without you guys. That really makes this whole thing worthwhile. And I know that if you join 4Block and you successfully get through the course, you're going to be saying the same thing. So that's my pitch, about 15 minutes. Don't want to take up more time than that. So let's turn it over to questions and answers. And let me stop sharing. And there we are. Okay. Any questions?
Hey, Tom, I just want to say thanks for that. You know, I just want to echo basically what you said. We've had a number of Fordham student veterans go through the class, and there are a number of success stories that you can directly relate or make a connection with their experience in 4Block. You know, from Tim Lee, who is working at CBS.
Oh, yes, yeah.
You know, there's so many, including I got some good feedback from one of our student veterans that's currently in the program, who said, I'm glad you pushed me to take the 4Block class because it's amazing. And so, you know, thanks for doing that. And let's open it up to any questions that we've got.
Hello, my name is Shadiqua. I'm actually a graduate student and a Marine Corps veteran. So I was wondering if you had something for graduate students, because I know before you said it's undergrad.
So yeah, if I could. So what we do is we're able to offer the 4Block class as a transition leadership class, as a 1-credit class for our undergraduate student veterans. And you as a graduate student can take the 4Block class, but because of how the graduate programs work, we're not able to give you credit, a 1 credit for the 4Block class. But that's the beauty of 4Block. It's actually a nonprofit that any post 9/11 veteran with an honorable discharge can take for free of charge. It's just that we've offered up this unique opportunity for our undergraduates to get credit for it. So not a problem for you to take it as a graduate student.
Yeah, Shadiqua, this semester we have 3 Fordham graduate students taking the course.
Okay, thank you.
Great.
Hi, Tom. My name is Allison. I'm also a graduate student, and I'm just curious, what are the typical group sizes that you guys have?
It's usually in the 30 to 35 student range.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
All right. And what we'll do is during the sessions that we're doing, the virtual sessions now, when we're working with a sponsor organization, we'll organize you into breakout rooms. So you're even in a smaller group, you'd be a group of like 4 to 5 students with a representative from the company. Mm-hmm. So you get really good one-on-one experience with a representative from one of these major companies. So while the overall pack is 30 to 35 people, the working group each week that you'll have, and it's going to change every week, obviously, is going to be 4 to 5 people.
Okay, thanks, Tom.
Great, thank you, Allison.
You know, one of the things that is pretty common for veterans that I see is that you know, they approach their careers similar to the way they approach their military careers, where they would just do what they needed to do. You know, they scored high on the rifle range. They got a high PFT score. They were proficient at their particular job in the military. And those things were the things that they were judged by for promotion. And in the civilian world, correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, but it doesn't work like that. That the networking, you know, the being able to talk about yourself in a way that shows value to a potential employer, to investigate opportunities in job opportunities. That's all a part of getting the next opportunity. It's not just the degree, but it's the, you know, it's the effort outside of the classroom to make sure that you're ready to go once you get the degree, or even before getting the internship, which validates your military experience and then, you know, makes you even a higher prospect for an employer. So can you talk a little bit about that?
I'm sorry, do you want me to?
Yeah, could you?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I jumped all over you there before you were done. Yeah, one of the biggest things I think that we teach is in the military. It's kind of cut and dry as to how you go from, you know, one level to the next. You do a whole bunch of things, get really, really good grades, and then you get promoted to the next rank. And it's not that cut and dry in the civilian business world. And I got to tell you, networking is the single most important thing you're going to do in the civilian business world. I like to say that in my career, I've had like 5 jobs, okay? And when I changed jobs, I didn't change for like a $2,000 increase in salary. I changed for like a quantum change in either position or, you know, salary or bonus structure or whatever. I always made big, big leaps. But every one of the job changes that I made, I never applied for it. I was never looking for another job, but the opportunities always came to me invariably because of somebody that I knew, either somebody I met at a convention, or somebody that I met pursuing a project, maybe at a project briefing somewhere, or somebody I met at a professional society meeting, you know, or somebody told a headhunter about me. A headhunter came looking for me. But I attribute my success to just, I was a very good networker. Now, when I started my career, we didn't even have computers back in those days. So networking was not as easy as it is nowadays. And we were able to do it effectively. I mean, we had a telephone and we had a Rolodex and a whole bunch of business cards in there. And that's how we networked. Now it's really a lot easier to network, but the basics stay the same. It's really who you know and defining those opportunities that you're not going to find in the classifieds in the New York Times. So I think, and that's the biggest thing we have to change the veterans' mindset about, is it's not just cut and dry, it's really who you know and how you can navigate the system. So networking is just so vitally important. And that's one of the things that we try to emphasize throughout the course, just the importance of networking. And it's some of the things that the vets maybe struggle with a bit because they're not used to doing that, but you'll get a hang of it after a while, believe me. It's really just vital to succeeding is who you know and how you navigate the system.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, we had last week an opportunity, as you provide every week with 4Block, but to talk to BNP Paribas and their ESG, their veterans group at BNP, where they're saying, hey, let's connect. Let me help you with the application process. Let me help you be more, more informed on what their business model is like and what they do and where you might be a good fit. So relying on that veteran network that you get, one, with 4Block, but just to emphasize how valuable the network is, you got to do it. It doesn't come to you, but you've got to get out there and do it. When you do, it shows and pays good dividends in return.
So Matt, to kind of go off that, my question I have is about my specific fit within those companies, because I'm a social work student, and so a lot of the stuff I'm interested in is like social impact, and I saw a lot of for-profit, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to be a good fit, or maybe that's a part of the networking I would have to do.
I think don't get discouraged by the sponsor companies. You know, the fact that they're for-profit companies. I think the techniques that you're going to learn about networking, about interfacing, about writing a resume, about having a LinkedIn profile, that is going to be valuable and usable no matter what you go after. Whether it's a nonprofit, whether it's a profit company, whatever. The techniques and the things that we teach you to do in 4-Block, you're going to use in your career, no matter who you're working for. And we've seen this happen time and time again.
Let me give you an example of where there might be a good fit with these companies. So all of these companies do charitable work. And certainly that requires, and all of them do an extensive amount of excuse me. Close that, decline that. So all of these companies have extensive volunteer opportunities where they need somebody with the skills that a social worker has. They can coordinate and help set those things up. That's just one example. There's multiple examples of where they've got social workers on staff at these companies. But certainly the opportunity to get out there and network, it opens up a broader range of opportunities.
Okay, thank you. One other question. This is the course. It's given in the fall and the spring. So the next iteration would be in the spring.
Correct.
Do you have a exact time frame, like a due date where we have to apply for it or something like that?
Yeah, Matt, they can sign up with you like right now, can't they?
Yeah, so there's a,
Oh, wait a minute. No, this is Shadika. She's a grad student. So
Right,
she would
so-
go directly.
that should go directly to.
Yeah. Actually, Shadika, this would be a good time for you to apply. You would apply directly to 4-Block though, because since you're not getting a credit, Fordham doesn't get involved in you. But if you go to 4block.org, that's our website. And if you scroll down to the bottom of the landing page there, it'll give you all the details about signing up for the course.
Our undergraduates are required to do two steps in the registration process. One, register directly with 4-Block, so using the same method that you just explained to Shadiqua. And then secondly, you talk to your academic advisor, which they will authorize you once you register for that class to take it. And I think, Matthias, you're a current student, correct?
I am, yes. I'm in the current cohort right now, going through it. I mean, so far it's been a great program. I actually went in with the mindset of, well, it's my senior year. I really need to start figuring this out. And since I have to figure it out, I might as well be put on a timeline to do it. And so 4-Block has actually helped a lot. My internship, I had an interview for it. It was the day after 4-Block, and we had just finished our Tell Your Story class. And when I went into that interview, it was supposed to be a preliminary interview. And I went in prepared like it was the interview, right? Which 4-Block emphasizes also. I went in prepared with my story, unlike other interviews where I kind of like had an idea what I wanted to say, but since we had to practice it with 4-Block, I went in, and then after I told my story, there was like 3 questions and they said, "You're hired." So it was pretty successful for me so far.
I'd say. That's great.
It's almost like we planted Matthias in the interview, but that's
Yeah,
great.
Matthias, your check is in the mail, by the way. So.
But you know, no, all joking aside, we hear that repeatedly from student veterans. We're great. We're always glad to hear that kind of response. But that's not that's not a one-off. That's consistently how it goes. So
Yeah.
if you're in the game, if you're actively taking a role outside of the classroom, in this case, in the classroom, preparing for your future, it's really paying dividends for your success. Well, one last round for questions. We put the 4-block link in the chat. Anybody else? Well, Tom, that's 30 minutes. Thank you so much.
Thank you all for attending, and I hope I see you in the spring semester.
Thank you.
Okay, guys.
Thanks, Tom.
All right, have a good day, everybody.
Thanks, Tom.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Steve.